Hi, so this manoeuvre is going to be one of the new manoeuvres which was brought in 2017. This manoeuvre is a forward bay park where you've to drive into a parking space either on the left or the right of you, and you've got to be within the white lines. So the vehicle's position cannot be left touching the white lines when you finish the manoeuvre in the space, and you can't be straddling and being slightly over the bay into the adjacent bay. So there are some little hints and tips to do this manoeuvre. Firstly, you will be doing this manoeuvre in the car park that is not the test centre. One thing to bear in mind is when you are doing this manoeuvre, if you are to be given this manoeuvre on your test, is that you need to make sure that when you enter the car park you treat it like a normal road. So still making sure that you are doing efficient observations, you're using your mirrors and signalling for other either pedestrians on the car park or other road users. Also, you need to be able to bear in mind that there may well be speed limits on the car park, that you need to follow those speed limits, and arrows may be on the car parking ground that you've got to make sure you follow those arrows. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to do this manoeuvre and talk it through. So I'm now going to move off from this position. I'm already in a bay now, but I'm going to move off forward into this position to the left. As always, manoeuvres will use clutch control, so using small movements of the clutch to move it forward or to slow it down, and also to reverse when we put it into reverse later. So we do our full round effective observation over my left shoulder all the way around, using my 6 points to check it's clear. I'm going to then move off by releasing my handbrake and moving around the car park, at all times maintaining those effective observations. Okay, as you can see, I'm going really slow. There is a speed limit, so if we see the speed limit on the lamppost, making sure that we do not go over the speed limit. As I go around now, I'm going to choose a parking space on my right. So again, there's arrows on the ground, so I need to make sure that I follow the arrows in the direction I want to go, and I'm going to treat it like a road, so I have put a right indicator on. Because I want to go to a space on the right, so if Mandy just sort of shows the video over to the right, we can see some white solid lines. So I'm making sure now that my wheels are straight. So my car wheels are straight, and I've positioned close to the bays on the left. So my left wheels, the near side of the car, is on the left hand side near the white line. So I'm now going to select a parking space. So where the lamppost is, if I choose to go into the space after the lamppost, once my casing of the mirror is on top of the solid white line, now I'm going to drive forward, making sure I'm doing my effective observations, checking my centre mirror and right mirror. If there's anyone to benefit, I would signal. So there are other cars in the car park, so my signal's gone on. My wing mirror now is on the line. Can you see that there, Mandy? So the wing mirror casing is on the line. As I now check around again, I'm now going to turn my wheel as I'm using clutch control. I'm going to full lock my wheel to the right. So once the wheel has locked, I then keep that position, so be patient. And then as you come into the bay, wait until the car is perfectly straight, and then you turn the wheel back 1 1/4 turns, and then so you're in the bay. Once you're in the bay, come to a stop, handbrake on, into neutral. Okay, you are able to make sure that you are in the lines by either lowering the mirrors or opening the door, but you must have a handbrake on and must be in neutral before you open the door. Check your blind spot before you open the door, and we're perfectly within the lines. We're absolutely bang smack in the middle of the bay. Okay, if we hadn't have got in the bay on our first attempt, you are allowed to have a correction, at which point you could just reverse back. As you're doing so, checking all your points before you move off, and then having another attempt by checking again and putting it into first gear and going into the bay, but doing some corrective steering. Okay, the second part of the manoeuvre now is reversing out of the bay, either to the left hand side or to the right hand side. But what we must do is, if there are arrows on the ground telling you which way we need to travel, you need to bear that in mind. So first thing we do now is we're going to put the car into reverse. I've got to imagine now that there's a vehicle either side of the bay. even though it is clear now, we're going to imagine that there's a vehicle at the side of the bay. If I turn my wheels straight away, then we would hit the side of the vehicle that was parked next to us. So we're going to come out of the bay in a straight line for about 1/2 to 3/4 of the bay. As I do this, keeping my wheels straight. So a full round check, it's clear. So I'm going to release my handbrake, coming back, and we call it the headless chicken. I'm going to call it the headless chicken. So over my left shoulder, over my right shoulder. Over my left shoulder, over my right shoulder. If a car or a pedestrian comes, at any point I stop and stay where I am. They should manoeuvre around you. I'm now 3/4 out of the bay. So if Mandy just sort of shows where my wing mirror is now in the bay. Okay, so I'm 3/4 out of the bay. I'm now going to reverse to the left. So checking all around all the time, headless chicken, full locks to the left, checking over my shoulder for any parked cars, any pedestrians that I don't reverse into. As I then come out of the bay, I then straighten my wheels, the car wheels, which is 1 1/4 turns, handbrake on, into first gear. Remember, many people do forget to do their 6-point check when they move off from this point. Keep your 6-point, make sure you do your 6-point check and drive on, maintaining your position in the left lane, following the arrows and the speed limits. The same would be if it was a bay on the left, you would use the wing mirror casing for the left. Thank you.